The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
In a few moments, the news.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Piris. First, the headlines. The Commissioner General of Examination says that GCE Honorary Level examination was conducted successfully today at all centres island-wide. Another shipment of 40,000 metric tons of petrol provided under the Indian credit reaches Colombo. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that the government is taking measures to introduce a welfare budget soon. The Attorney General instructs the IGP to transfer Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakun with immediate effect. In news overseas, the WHO says world faces big challenges over COVID, monkeypox and wars. In sports, it's cricket. Lytton Das and Mushfiqur Rahim scored centuries against Sri Lanka in the second test at Maypur. Now the local news in detail. The Commissioner General of Examinations, LMD Dharmasena, says that GCE Honorary Level examination, which commenced today, was conducted successfully at all centres island-wide. He said that provincial and zonal educational directors have confirmed the situation. He further said that all communities have lent their support and requested the public to give their support to conduct the examination successfully during the next few days. The Indian High Commission in Colombo says that another shipment of 40,000 metric tons of petrol provided under the Indian credit reached Colombo today. The High Commission tweeted stating 40,000 metric tons of petrol under Indian assistance reached Colombo today. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that the government is taking measures to introduce a welfare budget soon. He said that it will include short-term, mid-term and long-term programs to rescue the country from the present economic crisis. He said today that the projects that are being implemented under the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing would be reviewed. He further said that projects should not be changed with the change of governments. The Attorney General has instructed the IGP to transfer Western Province Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakun with immediate effect to prevent unnecessary intervention into the investigations relating to the attacks on peaceful protesters at Temple Trees and Golface on May 9th. The CID is currently conducting investigations into the incident under the instructions of the Attorney General. Meanwhile, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security, retired Major General Jagat Alvis, recorded a statement with the Criminal Investigations Department today in connection with the incident. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The Colombo Magistrates Court has extended the foreign travel ban imposed on former Central Bank Governor Ajit Nimad Kamral until July 25th. The case was taken up before Colombo Additional Magistrate Harshana Kakunabala today. Former Governor Cabral was not present in court when the complaint was called, and he was represented by President's Counsel Shavindra Fernando. The lawyer informed court that his client had been served summons and that he would appear before the court on the next day. The Central Bank has summoned before the Committee on Public Accounts of Parliament tomorrow. The committee, headed by MP Anura Priyadarshana Yapa, decided to summon the Governor of the Central Bank, Ministry Secretaries and officials to discuss the present economic crisis and solutions. Meanwhile, the COPE Committee has called Bank of Ceylon tomorrow before the committee. Minister Susil Premchand says that all activities related to school admissions will be entrusted with provincial officials. He said today that the Ministry of Education will be committed full-time to take policy decisions. The minister thanked police, armed forces, petroleum corporation, SLTB, railways and private bus associations for giving their support to conduct the GCE ordinary level examination successfully. Aruni Vijayawardena assumed duties as the new secretary to the Foreign Affairs Ministry today. The ministry said the appointment as the secretary was made with effect from May 20th. She has served in Sri Lanka Foreign Services for 34 years, holding numerous positions in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Colombo, Sri Lankan missions overseas and international organizations. And that concludes local news.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi 60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. A health insurance plan to honor our most valued elders by the protectors of the nation. We now give our treasured senior citizens access to the very best medical insurance, specially tailored for anyone over 60. What's more, you don't need medical screening to access this policy. And Medi 60 covers a wide range of illnesses. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said the UN Food and Agricultural Organization has assured its support to Sri Lanka in obtaining assistance to obtain food as the food shortage in the nation grows. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe said in his latest Facebook post, FAO in a discussion with him assured that it will assist Sri Lanka to get international assistance to overcome the growing food shortage. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
In Watchlight this evening, Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that Octane 95 petrol will be supplied to filling stations island-wide from today. He said with the unloading fuel from 2 cargo ships, Octane 95 petrol will be available for the next 6 weeks. He requested Octane 95 users not to stay in line for Octane 92 petrol and to obtain Octane 95 petrol from today. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next.
Coming up, world news.
First, the headlines of the world news. The WHO says world faces big challenges over COVID, monkeypox and wars. Russian forces in eastern Ukraine are intensifying attacks on a key city. And reports say explosive Tonga volcano is surprisingly intact. Now the world news in detail. The head of the World Health Organization has warned that the world is facing formidable challenges, including COVID, the war in Ukraine and monkeypox. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus was speaking in Geneva, where the UN Health Agency's experts were discussing this monkeypox outbreak in 50 nations outside Africa. More than 80 cases have been confirmed in Europe, the US, Canada, Australia and Israel. However, the risk to the wider public is said to be low. Russian forces in eastern Ukraine are intensifying attacks on a key city as they seek to seize the Donbas region. Severodonetsk, the largest city under Ukrainian control in Luhansk province, has come under intense artillery and missile fire from Moscow's forces. Local officials said yesterday Russian troops were repelled after trying to enter the city from 4 directions. It comes as the UN said the global number of displaced people has risen above 100 million for the first time. The Tonga underwater volcano that produced a spectacular eruption in January remains astonishingly intact. A New Zealand-led team has just finished mapping the flanks of the seamount, which many people thought might have been torn apart in the ferocity of the event. But structurally, Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai hasn't changed that much. The Tonga eruption produced the biggest atmospheric explosion recorded on Earth in more than a century. Back to the headlines of the world news. The WHO says world faces big challenges over COVID, monkeypox and wars. Russian forces in eastern Ukraine are intensifying attacks on a key city. Reports say explosive Tonga volcano is surprisingly intact. And that concludes world news. Moving on to development news. The Export Development Board came under spotlight at World Trade Promotions Award 2022 as it bagged the runner-up title for Inclusive and Sustainable Trade. The EDB was recognized for demonstrating competency and excellence internationally under the category of Best Initiative for Inclusive and Sustainable Trade for its SME Export Coaching Program, which was conducted in late 2021. And that was Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports, it's cricket. Today is the first day of the second test match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh at Mirpur. Batting first, Bangladesh scored 277 runs for 5 wickets in the first innings at close of play today. Mushfiqur Rahim scored 115 runs and Lytton Das scored 135 runs for Bangladesh. Kasam Rajitha took 3 wickets and Asita Fernando took 2 wickets for Sri Lanka. And that was Sports News.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, lifestyle-based financial assistance platform Monita recently debuted an ingenious product to remove the financial barriers to study, whereby students can pursue a professional or educational qualification and pay in 4 installments interest-free. The Study Now Pay Later endeavour is a partnership with Achievers Lanka Business School. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
In economic news, the central bank disclosed that it collects every month up to $300 million from exporter dollar conversions and surrender requirements, which help significantly to provide dollars to finance the essential imports. They said doing away with the requirement could lose even the little amount that is being collected and thus would further aggravate the situation in the country. And that came to you in economic news. The weather report is next.
The Weather Report.
And finally, moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says the showery condition over the southern western part of the island is likely to enhance up to some extent during tomorrow. Showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Matara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can occur at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Kadutara, Galle and Matara districts. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The Commissioner General of Examination says that GCE ordinary level examination was conducted successfully today at all centres island-wide. Another shipment of 40,000 metric tons of petrol provided under the Indian credit reaches Colombo. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that the government is taking measures to introduce a welfare budget soon. The Attorney General instructs the IJP to transfer Senior DIG Deshabandhu Tenakun with immediate effect. In news overseas, the WHO says world faces big challenges over COVID, monkeypox and wars. And in sports, it's cricket. Lytton Das and Mushfiqur Rahim scored centuries against Sri Lanka in the second test at Mirpur. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.